What's going on, everybody? It's P-Toll, aka PT Sports 84, back with another NBA 2K25 custom season roster available for play now. This one is highly requested from the community. It's the 2008-2009 NBA season. I based the rosters off of October 28th, 2008, which is opening night, of course. Um, Quick disclaimer, there's a couple jerseys and there may be some courts that are slightly off. I tried to do the best I could based on the availability of what's in the official files and then what's available in the team design downloads. If there wasn't anything available, I just went with the closest uniform I could. Like Minnesota is slightly off, um, you know, teams like that. But for the most part, this is a very accurate roster. Try to base it, like I said, off of opening night. So real quick, I used the LeBron era as the default roster. So with that said, in the deleted players, you have all of the rookie class from '09 and 2010. So you could, if you wanted to make a 2009, 2010 roster, you would just basically swap out the players and things like that. I may actually do that in the future because I'd have to change the coaches and stuff like that that changed over the following season, which wouldn't be too difficult. And then, of course, the transactions, things like that. But that may come down the line. But jumping into the roster, as always, all of the players are accurate as of opening night. Um, I didn't put injuries on players, but like guys like Jason Smith, he was out for the season. You can add the injury if you want to. Um, of course, accurate coaches. All of the coaches are on their appropriate teams. I went ahead and edited the coaching staffs as well. You'll see Reggie Theus, obviously, that's the player model. I would love to have a coach model, but I just went with the player model just so it's accurate. Um, just going through, try to get as close as I could on coaches. So, or coach faces if they weren't official ones for the most part. One other thing, Eddie Jordan can't get his coach face for some reason with the way the 2K is in the program that I use. It reverts it to the other model. Hairstyle 2 is actually the coach Eddie Jordan. I just can't get to it. If that changes in the future, I'll come back and fix it. But for now, that's what it is. Just really quickly, I'm going to scroll back through to the beginning, show you really quickly before I dive into the roster any further. Um, the coaches in the coaching staff, like Kevin McHale, is a free agent coach. He replaced Randy Whitman, but he was not on the assistant coaching staff. So he actually is there in the free agent pool. Um, let's see really quickly. Let's flip it to um, head coach Lionel Hollins. Same thing for him with Memphis. He was in the um, basically the coaching pool. He wasn't on the assistant staff. Ed Tapscott came in and for later in the season. He was a lead assistant. I believe I remember correctly. Might have been Toronto. I don't have it in front of me. Tony DeLeo, of course, Sixers. He took over. So those are the free agent coaches there. And then, of course, if you look at the staffs here, I have the real staffs like Moses Malone, John Lawyer, Aaron McKee, and Jim Lynam for the Sixers. All the teams have their appropriate coaches that they're supposed to. There's a couple generics in there. If a coach, basically didn't give it to me on Basketball Reference, I left it as a generic rather than a real coach in there that didn't actually exist on the staff. So, with that said, let's go back through the roster. Everybody is accounted for. I tried to use the best I could as far as faces. Shout out to Clutch for all of his draft classes for the 2000s. It's where a lot of the caps came from. He does phenomenal work. If you haven't already, check out his draft classes as well as going to look at his 2002 2003 Kobe era roster, which I believe should be done in the next day or two. So make sure you're checking that out. But yeah, all the players are here for the teams. Try to do the best I could on the faces. I may have to go back in and kind of tweak some faces here and there, but for the most part, I try to get everybody accurate and correct. So um, pretty much everybody's accounted for. Now, one note here: Darius Miles didn't sign until later in the season for Memphis, but because it was the only team he signed for, I went ahead and added Darius Miles because I was short on players. You know, it gives that message if you're under 14 players on a roster. So Darius Miles has been added to Memphis. That's why he's there. Like I said, this is based off of the opening night roster. So I try to get everybody accounted for that I could that played. Some players you'll see they might not have played a minute for the team, but they were on the opening night roster. So um, just want to scroll through and show all of them really quickly. Uh, Another thing to note, as far as like progression and things like that, like you'll see some things like um, the team stats and stuff like that. I mean, I'm not going to worry about it because it's a play now roster. You can load this into my NBA and play it if you want to. Obviously, the stats, the player cards and stuff are going to be a little messed up because you're reverting it back to an earlier season than the LeBron era start. But, um, for the most part, I made this for play now because I enjoy playing the rosters and going forward, just playing the games, team versus team rather than, doing season versus season. I left a generic player with the Suns there because they didn't have enough on their roster um, as well. So Oklahoma City, of course, Minnesota, Portland, the Warriors. This is the pre-Steph Warriors the year before. And then, of course, the Washington Wizards. So, yep, and you'll find everybody in the free agent pool that signed during the season. Um, so basically, you just have to kind of get them out of there. Um, so there you go. You can find them throughout in here. I left a lot of spaces in case people want to make the 2009 2010 season and add free agents, stuff like that. So I can take these back out if people don't want them. Just let me know. There's a lot of generics here in the free agent pool. One thing, if people didn't know, if you export from my NBA, that's where I had to make some of the logo and uniform changes that I needed to make. It actually adds players in to both the free agent pool, and it adds actually staff spots as well to fill those in. So, in case you didn't know that, that's how you kind of get extra spaces for coaching staffs and things like that. So, um, that's about it for 0809. I didn't really dive into tendencies ratings. I just did the best I could. I didn't deep dive, honestly. I pretty much leave this roster open ended. You guys can edit how you want to. If people want to take this, make it an end of the season roster, you can. Just note that some of the coaches you'll have to swap out for, on the staff and things like that. Also, you'd have to tweak ratings and transactions, but sure, you know how to do that. But if you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Also, please share this video and also subscribe to the channel. And then down below in the description box is going to be a donation link. Please, 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 if you have anything to give, even if it's $1, there'll be a Cash App link as well as a PayPal link. Please, it takes a lot of time to do these rosters, so anything helps for them. I'll have another roster video out coming in a few minutes uh, showing another season roster that I've completed. Hope you enjoyed the 2008 2009 opening night NBA 2K25 season roster. Um, Stay tuned for more. Take care.